In order to combat the Utgardian threat, will King Thor need to push himself harder than he ever has before? Well, let's hop into the pages of Immortal Thor issue number 2 and find out together, shall we? So then, this issue actually opens up with a rather interesting flashback. We see a young Odin sacrifice his eye to the Yggdrasil in exchange for amazing knowledge, officially turning himself into Odin One-Eye. This was a very historically relevant day, as it was also the same time that the Odin Force, or at least what we would know as the Odin Force, was officially born. An amazing all-encompassing set of powers that the tree says Odin will one day pass on to his son. We've seen Thor use his own version of the Odin Force before, but now these powers are being tested like never before. Thor has to dig deeper than he ever has to battle against Tornos, aka the Utgardian god of thunder, the Utgardians basically being the equivalent of Titans but to Norse gods. King Thor is throwing absolutely everything he has at Tornos, and barely any of it is making a scratch. As Tornos puts it, he is older than even the thunder itself, that he was there when it first cracked the skies. He once again says that the wheel is turning and that the world no longer needs weak, puny micro-gods like Thor anymore. As we learn too, digging so deep into the Odin Force powers is actually really bad for Thor, as the more he extends himself, the more likely he is to eventually go into his own version of the Odin Sleep. A sleep that we know from watching Odin could take any number of years before the powers are fully recharged, and on top of that, Thor would be more vulnerable than he's ever been before if he goes into the sleep. It's with his back against the wall and few options left, Thor decides that he's not going to win this fight, so instead he's going to postpone it, using his powers to open up a portal in the universe, and use it to send Tornos to the other side of the known universe. Again, this doesn't win the fight and only really serves to piss the Utgardian off, but Thor hopes that it will buy him enough time to think of a better plan. Now, if he was smart, he'd probably make trails all the way back to Asgard to rally his armies, maybe talk it out with Sif for some of the others. But Thor just can't bring himself to leave Midgard just yet. Even just having Tornos right here, right now, like he did, has kicked up superstorms all over planet Earth. Thor rushes into action to save all the innocent people who are trapped under the rubble and to quell the storms himself, even though doing so once again stretches his Odin powers a little bit further. Again, it's a really nice way for them to build on all the stuff we saw in the previous issue. Thor loves the humans, he loves Earth, and he just couldn't live with himself if he didn't help. Now, unfortunately, his time is growing ever shorter, and with the raging Utgardian no doubt heading back to him full speed ahead, Thor decides that he should probably pick a good place for the next fight, somewhere where he won't have to worry about innocent people getting caught in the crossfire. This tactically chosen battlefield turns out to be the gray side of the moon. Yes, it's just like the blue side of the moon where the Inhumans used to live, a place that not only has air, but atmosphere that the god of thunder can use to create storms. Thor is shocked to realize that his sibling Loki is already there on the moon waiting for him. Thor jumps to the conclusion that Sif must have tipped Loki off to come and back him up right now, not even thinking for a second that Loki could very well be involved in this new Utgardian crisis. And indeed, Loki knows way more about this situation than they're letting on right now, and the things they say next to Thor are extra cryptic. Basically, Loki ends up asking Thor if he trusts them. Thor says, "Of course I trust you. I raised you from the dead. We're siblings. We've fought side by side numerous times. Why wouldn't I trust you?" Only for Loki to change the question. Loki needs Thor to trust them right now, not as a friend or an ally, but as an enemy. Apparently, that's the only way things are going to work. King Thor admits he doesn't fully understand what's happening right now, and it kills him to do so, but he ultimately swallows his pride and relents. He will trust Loki as a villain, and in doing so, Loki ends up taking a brand new form. Well, I say brand new, but it's heavily implied here that what Loki turns into, Thor has actually seen before. In fact, it even has a name, the Teller of Tales Loki, which actually makes a lot of sense as a form for Loki, considering that they have been the god of mischief and the god of stories, and telling tall tales is a combination of both of those disciplines, so maybe this is actually the most powerful Loki we've ever seen for all I know. And so that was Immortal Thor issue number 2, everybody, and hats off to Al Ewing for continuing to keep all the momentum created by that very first issue. It's fun to see Thor on the back foot, fighting an enemy both more powerful and more mysterious than even the Asgardians. Ewing also once again shows what an excellent granular storyteller he can be, especially when it comes to such amazing all-encompassing powers like the Odin Force. Other writers would probably abuse this power as an easy get-out-of-jail-free card narratively, or or just take it away because they don't want to be asked every 10 seconds why Thor just doesn't use that power to get out of a jam. Here, Ewing really buckles down, does the work, and say, yes, it's an amazing power, but it also comes with restrictions. Likewise, I'm really enjoying how interesting Loki is in this story. We've had Loki as a good guy, as a bad guy, as everything in between. Here, though, Loki gets to be mysterious. You don't really know what they're doing, whose side they're on, or even know who or what they could possibly become next, and it makes a lot of sense. Loki is a consummate shapeshifter with a ridiculously long lifespan, so surely there are forms and appearances that have been lost to history. Overall, I would give this one another very strong 8 out of 10 and can't wait to see where the book goes from here. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.